the first question that we have is firstly with the breaking news. So the breaking news is on H1B 2024 cap. So Attorney Prashanthi, my first question to you is, what does it mean for our viewers? I mean, if they are not selected, how do they prepare for 2025? If you can please, shed some light on it.
Right. So let me start with the breaking news that the cap has been reached because the last week we were discussing the possibility of a third lottery that has not happened. They have received enough numbers of H1B filings to cover the 65,000 plus 20,000 H1B cap numbers. So they have made that announcement today. USCs has made the announcement today. So there will be no further lotteries based on the registrations that were done in March earlier this year. So we now have to look forward to next year's lottery that is coming up very soon in March 2024. So people who are interested in filing for that lottery, please prepare yourself. Whether you're an employee or an employer, make sure you have all the documentation and the information required to register. The registration window will most probably be for about 20 days. And if I'm not mistaken, it should be sometime in March. And by April, we will get the result of the picks. There will be a lottery pick after all the registrations are done. Most probably the registrations will be done by the 20th, if it's the same as the last year, March 20th. And they will run the lottery in the next 10 days. And by April 1st, they will announce the lottery results, and then you will be able to file your H1 starting October 1st. You will file immediately, but the start date will be October 1st. You will get 90 days to file your H1. That is between April and June would be the 90-day period to file. And then we wait and see what happens, how many registrations, what the pick rate is, whether it's 30% or it's 10%, more than that. I don't expect a lesser demand for the H1Bs, even though there have been massive layoffs this year. The H1B demand is just so huge that I doubt that the layoffs will affect the actual demand. But let's wait and see. If there is a lesser of a demand, then the pick rate will be higher. So maybe we'll see a 40% pick rate instead of a 30% pick rate. And also, if we are rid of the multiple registrations problem, we are hoping for a smoother process this year, unlike last year where there were multiple registrations to such an extent that there were about 780,000 registrations as opposed to 400,000 from the previous year, so about double the amount. So waiting to see what will happen. In the meantime, if you require to work in the US, if you're required to come before October, then you have to look at alternatives such as the TN, the L1. Perhaps you can work on a B1 in certain limited circumstances. So you could be working on an E2 if you're from Australia. So there are some other options, and O is another option. So contact us if you need further information on cap alternatives.
Okay. So thank you so much for answering the question, Prashanthi Reddy. But now there are a lot of questions coming from the people who are watching us from all over the platform, be it YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, as I mentioned, in the introduction. But before I move on to the questions from people or to my next question, I actually would like to ask you one follow-up question. You said something about cap. So I'm sure a lot of people know what cap means, but for the ones who joined us today or who are watching the show first time and who have just joined us for, immigration knowledge. So to them, what would you like to tell them what cap exactly is?
So there is a limited number of H1B numbers that can be filed each year. Mm-hmm. Those numbers, new H1Bs, we're not talking about transfers of H1 or extensions or amendments. We're talking about new H1s. That is, a person who's never been on a H1 before, they can file their H1 if there is a number, and there are limited numbers available. So there is 65,000 numbers for H1 bachelor's degree holders and 20,000 for US master's degree holders. So a total of 85,000 numbers are released every year for new H1s. But the demand usually every year is so high that much more than 65,000 are filed. And therefore, the reason, instead of like past years where they used to take in all the applications and then reject applications based on a lottery system, which they would do based on actual applications. A few years ago, what they did is they created a registration system whereby you didn't actually have to file the H1s for these numbers, but you just had to register with some information, such as your date of birth, your passport number, beneficiary name, company name, federal ID number. So some fields had to be filled out. It's an online application. Right now it's $10, but that could go up. We don't know. Again, we'll hear more about that later next year, I think. So they created a registration system, and now based on these registrations, they file they have the actual lottery, and then people file H1. So that's what the H1B cap season is about.
Okay. Thank you so much for answering my follow-up question with so much patience, Attorney Prashanthi.
Are you an IT consultant seeking a new opportunity? We offer job placement services for US citizens, green cards, EADs, and visa holders. We also sponsor various work visas like H1B, E3, TN, and green cards. 20 plus years of experience in the industry. Exceptional employee benefits. Highly rated by our employees. Global presence with 200 plus recruiters and direct clients. Connect with us. Call us on the number 833-412-8472 or mail us at support@higheritpeople.com or visit our website www.higheritpeople.com.